Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Whitfield Report Thursday edition. Of course, this is the audio exclusive version of the podcast, so welcome aboard. I am recording here at NGC Studios, and I've got some stuff to talk about this afternoon, so let's hit it, shall we? First off, contact info as always. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SamDB_NGC, hashtag Sam's Savages, hashtag Whitfield Report. And I always keep forgetting to mention that you can also follow the Whitfield Report on Twitter at Whitfield Report. But I mainly just use that handle to tweet out episodes of the show and announce when they're available. So, you're not really... follow the show Twitter handle at Whitfield Report. I would appreciate that, but, if you want to interact with me, just follow me on Twitter at SMD_NDC. On Gab and Minds at Sam Whitfield. YouTube.com/The Whitfield Report for the live video podcast on Saturday evenings. Plus, videos throughout the week somewhat. And thesamwhitfield.com, too, if you want to read my blog, which I haven't updated in forever. I think it's been like 2 months since I've, wrote a post on there. I am going to try and, write something up there, eventually. But it's hard when your, major for school requires you to write, stuff for it all the time. And, with all the writing I do for school, I don't really have that much, motivation at the end of the day to, write to, like, free write or anything. So, but I will try and do some writing. And of course, follow me on iTunes. And, if you are listening on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please consider leaving the podcast a 5-star rating and a nice review. That always helps us out, and all that jazz. Okay, so what do we have cooking here? Just got a couple things I want to get off my chest. I was going to have JJ Stoner on the show today. He was going to be my guest, and he messaged me on Twitter DMs and said that he was just too busy to do it today, which is fine. But I do want to briefly just go over that for you guys. For those of you who haven't heard. Jeez, I can't speak today. But anyway, so JJ Stoner is a YouTuber / podcaster / comedian who does video streams online. He doesn't really do anything political. He just mainly satirizes things and just does humor in lots of his live streams. And I discovered him through the Revenge of the Cis community and that crowd, and he was supporting me and the other Danger Zone members when we were exposing some of the Owen Benjamin stuff. And JJ's always been a pretty good guy. He hasn't really said a bad word about anyone, and doesn't hold grudges or anything like that. He's a very amicable cat. And his channel has always been like pretty above board in terms of content on YouTube. He recently lost his mother, which condolences to him and his family. So he's been taking the past couple months off from live streaming because of that. And yesterday, I guess YouTube sent him an email basically saying that his account has been permanently suspended. And they didn't really give any specific reason as to why he got suspended. They didn't reference any specific videos of his or anything, but as far as people can tell, it was ridiculous. They were saying in the letter, in fact, let me see if I can pull this up. I'm on my iPad while I'm recording this, so let me see if I can go to his Twitter and actually pull up the tweet, because it's ridiculous what people are being forced to go through with YouTube. So okay, so I found it. So this was the notice from YouTube that JJ Stoner got from YouTube. It says, we'd like to inform you that due to repeated or severe violations of our community guidelines, your YouTube account, JJ Stoner, has been suspended. Brackets. See, that's the other thing. They send him a pre-populated letter that didn't even have the formatting done correctly. It's really weird. And if you guys listening to this on the audio podcast want to see what I'm talking about, I will have a link to this in the show description to this image, because it's ridiculous. But basically, they were saying that he had content glorifying or inciting violence against another person or another group of people. And he was also saying, we do not allow any content that encourages hatred of another person or group of people. We review educational, documentary, artistic, and scientific content on a case-by-case basis. Limited exceptions are made for content with sufficient and appropriate content, and where the purpose of posting is clear. Please be aware that you are prohibited from accessing, possessing, or creating any other YouTube accounts. For more information about account terminations, blah blah blah, all that. So this is very weird and very disturbing, because as far as we can all tell, JJ's content has always been above board. He's never violated the terms of service, as far as any of us can tell. When I was chatting with him back and forth yesterday on Twitter DMs, I guess he'd never even gotten so much as a as a video copyright strike. So again, this is indeed weird that this is happening to him, ladies and gentlemen. What's even weirder, though, is that I was looking on Twitter last night before I went to bed, and I just happened to stumble upon Lacey Green's Twitter account. Yes, I do follow Lacey Green on Twitter, and apparently her YouTube account has also been suspended. Now, to give you context, JJ Stoner is a smaller creator on YouTube, such as myself. He may have 1,000 subs. I think he has more than I do, but I don't know. Like, I'm at I'm around like 545 at the time of recording this podcast. So my channel's not very big at all. Like I said, his channel might have been in the thousands, but still, it was pretty small. But Lacey Green has a YouTube channel with 1.1 million followers, which, is damn near impressive. And, granted, she's a liberal, and, her thing for a long time was, feminism and identity politics. And, I used to be one of the podcasters that would always kind of break down her videos and, analyze them and then make fun of them a little bit and kind of satirize them. But, in the past few years, I wouldn't really say she's become conservative, but she's certainly had more people of the, conservative persuasion come into her circles, and, I think she even got in trouble with some feminist groups because it was discovered that, her boyfriend or one of her close guy friends actually was a conservative Trump supporter. And, so she's kind of turned the corner a little bit. She's not as, she's not obnoxious like she used to be. So, that's good. I bring that all up to say, though, that last night when I was looking at her Twitter feed, I saw on Twitter that her YouTube channel apparently has been suspended. Apparently, one of the, AI bots that they have on there thought that she was, that Lacey Green, that she was impersonating Lacey Green. So, even that was Lacey, the bot that thought that, she was somehow an impersonator, doing posting fake Lacey Green videos or whatever. I'm not sure. And, the thing it is no one can really figure that out either, anyone that's sane. And the kicker too is, I guess, she even said, "Hey, YouTube, this is a mistake." She got a manual review, meaning that an actual person reviewed, the whole impersonation thing, and somehow it was upheld. So she's been suspended from YouTube too, and I don't want to. I try not get too conspiratorial and flip out whenever anything happens on technology platforms. But it is very interesting how you've got JJ Stoner who I think his political views align more with mine. But, he doesn't really do politics or anything on his streams. He does pure comedy. And then just by association with us, by, conservative individuals, he gets his, channel suspended. And then, in the case of Lacey Green, she kind of takes I guess a bit of a hiatus from YouTube, comes back, says that she has some that she has some friends in her circle who are conservative now too, and now she gets suspended from YouTube as well. It's and as far as I know, she's still liberal. It's bizarre, honestly, and it is sad too. It's sad that YouTube and big companies like Facebook, can't really accept diversity of opinion, and like, even if you agree with them 90% of the time, like in the case of Lacey Green, like, I know she's liberal on a lot of policies, and she and I probably disagree ideologically on like lots of things, but like, just the fact that she would be willing to have like a conversation with someone conservative or someone slightly right wing, and then YouTube just coincidentally suspends her for like quote unquote wrongful impersonation or something is bizarre. And same with JJ Stoner. So in regards to JJ Stoner, I'm with you, man. We all are. And in regards to Lacey Green, I might not agree with you 100%, but I will stand for your right to say whatever you want on YouTube, because I am I do believe in free speech, and that's a real bummer. Now, the other head scratching thing though, and again, I don't want to make this an Owen centered episode, but I really am starting to kind of believe the people who think that Owen is a plant. I've kind of, I used to not think that about Owen, but like the more and more things like this happen, the more I am convinced that he is in fact a plant, right? Because if JJ Stoner is getting suspended for just doing comedy, and he's not saying anything bad or anything like that, and if Lacey Green is getting suspended from YouTube, and she's basically on YouTube's side, but she's she's like friendly with, or I guess she's amicable with conservatives now, at least, she gets canned. But then Owen Benjamin, who is, like for the past couple weeks, his whole shtick is he's had like a ridiculously cartoonish, stereotypical Jew banker mask on, and, he's just been making like hand rubbing noises and basically doing like the most anti-Semitic shit on YouTube you can imagine. And he's fucking doxed he fucking doxed John Arcade and Gabe, and he's done all sorts of atrocious shit. And I mean, I'm still upset about it, but I do have to chuckle about it sometimes, because it is ridiculous that like everyone else but him is getting suspended, and yet he is the worst offender of like violating YouTube's rules. And like even Revenge of the Sith and us, we're all pretty cool with like free speech and whatnot, but like even some of us have gone like, whoa, like, slow it down, dude. Slow it down. So, you shouldn't be saying that on YouTube, perhaps. But, yeah, it's a bizarre world, and I'll tell you what, if YouTube can't get their shit together, they are going to, eventually, people are going to start leaving en masse. And I mean, I think that's even starting to happen. Like like how long before Sam the cooking guy, or like, well, yeah, let's use Sam the cooking guy as like an example. For those of you who don't know, Sam the cooking guy is a YouTuber who he does cooking videos, but he I mean, it's basically like hanging out with like your cool uncle who like swears and you know well, that's Stamsic. Like he swears a little bit, and he'll also like crack a beer when he's cooking things. So it's like hanging out with your uncle, and like learning how to cook. It's a great show on YouTube, and I enjoy it immensely. But how long before he gets kicked off YouTube, and he's just a professional chef who shares cooking videos and, makes them funny sometimes too. Um, is he going to get off the platform? Or, how long before YouTube's crazy social justice, rhetoric, how long before it bites them in the ass completely? I mean, I think it's already starting to. But, you know, what are you going to do at this point, folks? The way I see YouTube is going to self-destruct, and people are either going to move to other video streaming platforms, or they'll just leave the video streaming altogether. Now, here's what I've always said, and I'm kind of going like back and forth between this. But if YouTube does eventually can my channel, I'll be disappointed, sure, but I'm not going to be like super angry, because the way I see it, like I already have the audio podcast, like that's where I started, and that's like how I got my start in commentary, and like I people keep saying to go over to D Live, or to go over to Twitch, and I might, but then again I might not. But what one thing is for sure, as long as I have, as long as I'm able to like podcast purely, I will for sure be around. So if YouTube shit cans me too, I'll be disappointed, but it's not the end of the world for me. I'll still be here. You guys will still know how to find me. Regardless of what Google and YouTube, want to do. And speaking of podcasting, ladies and gentlemen, I actually want to give a quick shout out to my friend Jason Veely and his brother Tate, who have started a podcast called On Tap, and that's the name of it. And they do like a comics and well, not really a comic book, but they do like pop culture and entertainment. And they just launched this podcast, and they also have a YouTube channel too. I think it's like On Tap Podcast on YouTube or something like that. And they do like movie reviews and pop culture talk and whatnot. Like a lot of the stuff that I do on here actually now, folks. So for those of you who don't know, who aren't super long time listeners, Jason was the one who, found me after the, Ben Shapiro interview, and, like, he basically invited me onto his, platform, which at the time was Junior Factor Nation. This was, I think, like, back in, like, late 2012, early 2013, and, he used to do a political talk show as well, and we actually had like a whole entire network, and I mean it was really good. And for a while there, and we ran solid for a couple years, and then I as all young kind of, I guess, personalities do. I guess it was too much of like I guess too many egos clashed, and I'll admit my part in that too. I think we all had different directions for where we wanted JFN to go, and we couldn't really agree on anything, so we just all went our separate ways. And I know that Jason took a hiatus from podcasting, and so does Tate, but he's back now with this On Tap podcast, so I'm just very excited for him and happy for him, so go and check him out. That's On Tap. I know for sure that they're on Spotify, so go check them out. I'll try and link them in the show description as well. But anyway, they're great guys. I want to have them on the Whitfield Report on one of the Saturday streams, so that they can come on and chat, and maybe they'll be on this weekend. No guarantees of that, but they'll be on soon. And like I said, just a bunch of great guys, and I've always been grateful to Jason for giving me really my first big break in kind of talk radio, internet radio, after the Ben Shapiro interview. So I didn't realize I'm doing this to pay him back, but he helped me kind of launch my podcast a long time ago, so now I want to help him, launch his new podcast and be successful. So Jason, if you're listening to this, you're doing great, man, and so are you, Tate. And and then they do have a third host, Andrew, but I've actually never met Andrew, so but he's good too for a rank amateur. He's got a lot to fucking learn, that kid, but he's doing good too. So go check them out. I think new episodes release on Fridays, and yeah. So shameless plug for my friends and whatnot. So, and let's see, what else? Oh, today was a big day for if you're an Apple guy like I am, and I know that there are going to be some of you guys who are like, oh, Sam, you're way to be an Apple shill. Android. Okay, there's either like the people who are like Android shills, and they constantly love to shit on people who have like Apple products, and then there are the people who out there who are like, you're dumb for using smartphones in general because the government can track you, and blah blah blah, and and I'm like, well, if the government can track you, if they really want to, they can track you regardless anyway. And besides, if you don't have like a computer or a tablet or a smartphone, how the hell are you listening to this podcast right now anyway? And like, granted, I'm a bit of an Apple snob too. I'll admit that. And I like to give Android people crap too, but my whole thing is, whatever platform works for you. So, with that being said, I have to kind of indulge my fellow Apple fanboys here and just say that iOS 13 is working great for me on my phone, and then even though iPad OS is still in beta, I installed it on my iPad, and it's nearly done, and I'm actually running it on my iPad right now while I'm recording this, and that's what I'm using to record, and it's good. I like it so far. It's really stable so far. So, and I'll tell you what, the iPad with iPad OS, it really is starting to compete with the Windows Surface tablets, I think. So, if you get the chance, to play around with it, I highly recommend doing so. It's a great update. I haven't signed up for the Apple Arcade trial yet. I'm going to do that later tonight after the podcast, just because it seems interesting, and I'm curious to see like how Apple's gaming platform is, what that's going to be like now. So, but so far I'm really liking everything, and yeah, great job, Tim Cook and company. So, and then finally here tonight, folks, it's funny, about like a month ago or so, I guess Tool put out their discography on iTunes like back in August, and I was kind of getting shit from people, like, and deservedly so, because prior to Maynard James Keenan's interview with Joe Rogan, I had heard of Tool, but I that was about it. Like, I had heard the name and never listened to their music, like, never really given a thought. Like, no one even bothered me to ever, like, burn, like, a CD or anything. So, like, I kept getting crap from, like, rock fans and, metal fans for not getting into Tool, and, up until the digital release. So I did, and I listened to him in August, and a bit, now we're in mid-September, and I have to say, wow, just wow. I'm not like a huge metal fan. When it comes to music, folks, as most of you guys know, I basically like anything from, like classical to jazz to, to even like some hip hop and R&B a little bit. Some metal in there too. And even, yes, some blues and country if it's like the old stuff and, the good stuff. My music tastes are very eclectic. But, at the same time, like, I never, like, got into, like, like headbanger like thrash metal, but I've always been into prog rock, progressive rock, and groups like King Crimson and Rush, and like I do like old school metal too. So on the last podcast I said that Fear Inoculum was a great album. And it really is. And today, after my phone updated, one of the features that they have is a lyrics. Like, they improved the lyric sheet now so that the lyrics move along like as the song is going, kind of like karaoke. So I just happened to turn on the 10,000 Days album by Tool, which was the last album like 13 years ago before Fear Inoculum came out like about a month ago. And, this was the first time I had listened to 10,000 Days the whole way through. And man, Let me just say this. I get the hype now with Tool and why they're such a great band and why Fear Inoculum was, so highly anticipated, because 10,000 Days was a masterpiece. I mean, it is a masterpiece. Even if you don't like metal, like, give Tool a chance. Because it's not metal, it's more like prog rock with an occasional metal sound. So I'm a fan now of Tool. I think they're great, and so to all of my Facebook friends who are giving me shit, for not like listening to Tool before, I guess thanks for the swift kick in the ass now, and I'm a Tool head like the rest of you guys are. So thanks for that, I guess. So yeah. And well folks, I guess that'll do it for this episode. I can't really think of anything else to really talk about. I'll let you guys know what's going on for the Saturday show here soon. So check Twitter and whatnot. But regardless, I will have a show coming up on Saturday. I might cover the Justin Trudeau blackface thing then. That might be something I cover then. I heard about that, and that was a bit hysterical. So, but anyway, I know this is a bit of a shorter episode than usual. It's only like 5 minutes, give or take. But anyway, guys, that'll do it for the Thursday podcast. I hope you all are doing well. So thank you for tuning in. Oh, and as always, if you can, please consider going to Anchor.fm and helping support the podcast through financial donations and whatnot. And, consider subscribing monthly. And as always, just keep leaving those positive reviews and spreading the word about this podcast to your friends and family. And just thanks for the support, everyone. I really appreciate it, as always. So, from all of us here at NGC1, have a good day or a good evening wherever you are in the past, present, future hour. God bless, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order. I'll see you Saturday night, folks. Thank you for listening to the Whitfield Report. Hey there, folks. If you've made it this far to the end of the podcast, I'd like to thank you very much for listening to the show. You are the ones that make it possible for me to make an income from podcasting, and I greatly appreciate that just by listening to our show. You are helping us gain ad revenue. However, if you would really like to help support the show, I encourage you to please donate to the podcast and become a supporter of the show. You can head over to anchor.fm/Whitfield Report and click the support this podcast button and choose the amount that suits you to support the show. Or you can click the link in the show notes and it will directly take you to that page. If you can support the podcast, I really, really appreciate that. Anything that you can do to help out is greatly appreciated. Even if you can't afford to help financially support the podcast, I encourage you to please go on iTunes or Apple Podcasts or Stitcher and please leave this podcast a positive 5-star review. That really helps us out here at the Whitfield Report. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next episode.